reasons, I commend the bill to the House.
Thank you. I give the call to the member for Forrest.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'm very pleased to speak on this today. The Coalition, as has been said here today, supports the passage of the Export Control Amendment Bill in Streamlining Administrative Process. It sounds very dry. However, the impacts of this are not, and we've heard the member before me speak very well about this. But this provides that regulatory framework, especially for those agricultural commodities, which is something as a dairy farmer from the southwest of Western Australia I'm particularly focused on in this place constantly, given that 70% around that of our agricultural produce is exported. Our farmers do an amazing job in this country. We feed 25 million people with some of the best quality food in the world, and I'm extraordinarily proud of them. And they produce some fabulous fibre in various ways that is used around the world to produce some amazing quality products. But we do need to make sure that they're supported, that the process and industries are supportive, there's a streamlined, fit-for-purpose process, and that they're able to operate as efficiently as possible. So the Act that we have in front of us allows that better information management that we've seen discussed here today. It will cut that administrative red tape, the bane of business, no matter whether you're a new exporter or an existing exporter, and even across the various sectors and government agencies, just clarifying, streamlining, making it efficient and effective. You know, that collective information sharing done in the right way, securely, very important to us all, and how this will be managed. So the export sector relies on this, and I think we always need to be looking at this to do it better and more efficiently. But again, I focus constantly on data confidentiality, and no matter at what level business, industry, government, other agencies are involved, one of the greatest challenges we all collectively face is the protection of that confidentiality of information. And to us as farmers and producers and the exporters, a lot of the IP that sits within our businesses that go with that. So across the board there is a genuine need to maintain confidentiality, and we will come under ever-increasing pressure in this and stress from both commercial activities and malicious actors, and it's something that I am very concerned about. But we do, those safeguards for that information across this streamlining needs to be very robust and constantly reviewed, because we do know there's a lot of money to be made, and a lot of, do know that there's been a significant bleed of intellectual property across many businesses and entities that sometimes don't even know it yet because of the malicious attacks on their information and their sites and other. So we do need to provide this to the countries that we're dealing with, and for DFAT to assist with trade negotiations and the potential for further trade barriers, the non-tariff barriers that we see regularly and have had a lot of experience with in the EU, and they're very cleverly disguised and will continue to be, and we're seeing the latest iteration of some of that now. So this needs to keep Australia at a cutting edge globally, because we're often the target, because we are such efficient producers, and because the rest of the world is looking for very different ways, and our competitors in markets, to actually increase the cost to our producers. And we often operate in a very challenging environment, one of the driest continents, but we produce some of the most amazing products. You know, less water, less fertiliser, less land, and we still do it, and we're expected to do it, and we do it very well. But that then, when we look at some of those that we're hearing with some of our trade deals that are concerned about Australia's competitiveness, we are constantly having to be aware and alert of the intent to undermine Australia's export capability and the fact that we can deliver globally and produce to the highest quality in the world. That creates a challenge in some other parts of the world and our competitors in this space. So we have to be on the front line of everything we do, and our Australian farmers have to be efficient, otherwise they're out of business. And that includes in the export space, because of the high cost of doing business in Australia. Even in infrastructure and whatever you want to do, the layers and layers of red tape and green tape that we are up against, we are always behind the 8 ball, and inevitably, if you're a price taker in a commodity space, it comes back to you managing your own business even better and often absorbing the extra layers of cost that go with applying the rules, regulations from local, state and federal levels. So it's something that I'm very, very conscious of. But equally, our agricultural producers have the capacity to help feed the rest of the world when we know there are global shortages of food, especially with the actual content of the food itself. Often there's a lot of interesting parts to food production, and is there actually nutritional benefit in the food that's being produced? And I've got confidence that in Australia that is what we do. So it's really important that we continue to be able to export that high quality food, fibre and products across the board. And we've heard so many instances in this space where there's been challenges, and I hear it from my local exporters as well. And the commitment we made in the last budget to the Regional Accelerator program towards export market development grants, that would have helped those small to medium businesses in my patch and every other part of Australia to help get into the export market and promote their goods into new markets. And that is a real problem. It was a really good program. And when I look at what we achieved in government, I'm proud of that. The free trade agreements that gave our people market access, whether it was Malaysia, Korea, Japan, China, the comprehensive Trans-Pacific Partnership with Hong Kong, Peru, Indonesia, the Pacific, the PACER Plus, and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. What a great record, and what great opportunities it's given those that actually do the work and generate the income and the opportunity out wherever they are. And so, you know, a fifth of the Australian population produces roughly 2/3 of Australia's national export earnings. And I look at Western Australia and I see the top of the list there. You get iron ore and gold and alumina, a lot of which comes out of our part of the world, base metals and wheat. And so through, in my own electorate, the Port of Bunbury, 15 million plus tonnes of export products in 2022. The silicon that's being used in solar panels, actually manufactured in my part of the world. The fabulous beef from Harvey Beef and V&V Walsh, who export chilled and frozen beef and lamb to China. We've got milk and dairy and juices with Harvey Fresh. What a great company. And the lithium. We've got the best hard rock spodumene at Greenbushes, that's just outside in Rick's electorate, the member for O'Connor. But it comes and is being manufactured by Albemarle in my part of the world. They will have 5 trains of production capable very soon in the next couple of years, and that's already forward sold. The demand is so great. So besides that, and we have Taliesin as well in that production, with Alcoa exporting through the port, and South 32, the 11 plus million tonnes of alumina going out through the Port of Bunbury. Just incredible. And it's just done very efficiently, very effectively, and we need to make sure they can continue to do this no matter what the market is. In mineral sands with Iluka, and in that fabulous Margaret River and the region's wine. When you consider that, now this is an interesting, it's a standout in the export market, the Margaret River contributing 59% of Australia's, WA's bottled wine export value by actually only being 2% of the national crush. And it tells you it's a recognised international brand. And sometimes when I'm out and about representing my electorate, people ask me where I'm from. And because I'm rural and regional, sometimes there's a frown when I start at the top of my electorate and work to the bottom. You know, Yarloop, Harvey, where I farm, Bunbury, start to get a few, Busselton. When I get to Margaret River, bang. And so that is the international reputation that's been created by a quality product and people marketing internationally, but marketing a quality Australian and Western Australian product. And so one of the great challenges, I think, besides the biosecurity and the other challenges we face around competition and non-tariff barriers, is that of maintaining globally our reputation as that producer of fine quality, and we're known for clean, green production. That is a reputation we can never, ever afford to give up. And so it's a real challenge for us with what we do. But we also have something I'm particularly proud of, is the only ocean-grown baby abalone off the tiny town of Augusta, right at the southern end of my electorate. And they're looking at growing this business. But this is just a fabulous product. And we see a lot of hardwood wood chips going through the port and the grain, as I've mentioned. We have highly productive farmers using a wonderful southwest irrigation system. And this system is a gravity-fed system that supplies really good quality water to the majority of the system. However, there is one area, the Wellington Dam catchment area, that needs desalination to provide even better quality to the farmers that are on that southern end of that southwest irrigation system. And I want to see that continue to be supported through the National Water Grid approach. To have that pumped and piped, there's a lot of savings that have been made through actually piping the northern section, and there's been significant reductions in channel losses and efficiencies on farm, and it underpins the agricultural sector in the southwest and the production of that food. We've got some really wonderful examples. Carrots and onions. Now, we've got a range of people sitting in this room. 30% of Western Australian carrots are grown in my shire, Harvey Shire, and a vast amount of these are exported to the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia and Singapore, and that generates about $90 million a year. About 90% of WA's onions are grown in the Harvey Shire and 20% exported. So, and it's the irrigation water and the access to quality water always. You know, the slogan for Southwest Irrigation, where water flows, food grows. There's nothing more critical than that. So there is much more that needs to underpin that we've supported, and that is the basic infrastructure to support the logistics as well. There's just one other I wanted to mention in the 2 minutes or so I've got left. A local earth-moving logistics company, Piercentini's and Sons, designed and manufactured in my patch what's called the Panther 360. And this is like the old-fashioned low loader. They call it a float, I call it a low loader. And it'll go onto any mine site. It's got significant hydraulics that actually will lift up to 360 tonne on what we would call a low loader. And it's very well balanced, and so the machine that you would drive on or lift on up to 360 tonne, there's about a 2,300 horsepower Latorno in the front of it, and it is just a remarkable piece of gear, able to be manufactured almost in any size, but designed and manufactured in my part of the world, and using local tradespeople and local apprentices that we help support in government. And so what a great result. But this is being exported globally out of the port of Bunbury, and I'm just so proud of what they've done. But this is a cutting-edge piece of equipment and recognised by those operating globally as such a great piece of gear. But we've got some wonderful people who are innovating all of the time in this space, and we need to support them through this type of legislation that streamlines the process at each end but protects the confidentiality of that information. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, I'm pleased to support this bill, but I am completely focused as well on supporting our exporters, small, medium or large. There's a lot of small businesses quietly exporting, just getting on with their job and looking to have an opportunity to do that in a streamlined way that doesn't add significant cost to their business and to the costs of exporting. Given that we sit in a pretty unique part of the world with some great challenges, the more streamlined the approach to this while protecting their interests and the confidentiality of their information is really critical to them. So I look forward to us protecting that and fostering that and even focusing further on that in the future. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.